Welcome to the Conditional Commitment Training Module presented by USDA's Single Family Housing Guaranteed Loan Program. Understanding this document and its role is a very important key to operating successfully within the program, as no rural development loan can ever close prior to the receipt of the conditional commitment from the agency. Obtaining a loan note guarantee depends on following this process and meeting the outlined requirements. In this training module, we will review the requirements to accept and to meet those conditions so that any loan note guarantee may be issued. The agency will notify the lender of the results of the application review. There are three potential results that could be provided. The loan note guarantee is approved, return of an incomplete application. If the application is incomplete or needs clarification, the specialist will call and/or email the lender to resolve before issuing the final conditional commitment. Or the loan note guarantee is denied. The lender has three possible responses to the issuance of Form RD 3555-18/18E, the conditional commitment form. 1. Accepting the conditions. If the lender understands and agrees to accept the conditions listed on the conditional commitment, no further communication with the agency is required until the lender is ready to request the loan note guarantee. 2. Declining the conditions. If the lender determines that the terms and conditions stated on the conditional commitment cannot be met, that the loan note guarantee is not needed, or that the loan will not go to closing, the lender must inform the agency in writing as soon as possible. Or 3. Requesting changes in conditions. Requests to close the loan at a lower loan amount or interest rate than those authorized on the issued conditional commitment do not require any action. However, if the lender believes that there are erroneous conditions and requirements on the Form RD 3555-18/18E that should be altered, the lender can contact the agency in writing and propose those alternatives. Any changes made and accepted by the agency would require the reissuance of a new conditional commitment prior to closing and may require a new underwriting review depending on the nature of the changes. Modifications that adversely affect the loan, such as applicants were either added or deleted from the loan application, or critical information has changed, a decrease in the applicant's income and/or cash assets or reserves, an increase in loan amount or interest rate on the mortgage loan request, or any changes that would negatively affect the applicant's ability to repay the mortgage. The lender would not be authorized to close the loan until a new conditional commitment is reissued. A more detailed resubmission policy is located in Chapter 5.3, Section M. Remember that any request to release GUS for data updates after issuance of a conditional commitment will be treated as a new request and processed in order of the date of applications received. The lender is required to comply with all conditions stated on the Form RD 3555-18, Conditional Commitment for Single-Family Housing Loan Guarantee, and any attachments as applicable. The loan must close under the same terms as underwritten and approved for in the conditional commitment. When closing loans for purchase transactions, the lender has 90 days from the issuance of the conditional commitment to close the loan. The lender can request a one-time 90-day extension. The extension must be requested prior to the original expiration date. When closing loans for construction transactions, the expiration date for new construction should correspond with the estimated project completion date, not exceeding 12 months. This does not apply to combination construction permanent loans. The agency must grant any approved extensions in writing. The loan must close under the same terms as underwritten and approved for on the conditional commitment. Any changes in the loan terms, characteristics of the applicant, or property from the issuance of the conditional commitment to loan closing requires the lender to notify the agency in writing and a new conditional commitment issue before closing. Adverse changes may require the release of the application submitted in GUS to the lender for correction. Resubmission is required to ensure there is no impact to the underwriting recommendation. The agency must verify in writing prior to loan closing that the changes are acceptable. Failure by the lender to obtain approval from the agency may result in denial of the Form RD 3555-17E loan note guarantee. All individuals applying for the loan and assuming responsibility for the mortgage must sign the loan application and any addendums. Any individual whose signature is required by state law must sign the security instruments and/or note to create a valid first lien, to pass clear title, or to waive inchoate rights. All owners to be vested in title must sign the security instruments. Lenders should not encourage borrowers to sign blank or incomplete documents. Electronic signatures are allowable as outlined in Handbook Chapter 15. A power of attorney, or POA, may be used when the mortgagee verifies and documents the following requirements have been met, as applicable. Any specific or general POA must comply with state law and allow for legal enforcement of the mortgage note. For military personnel, a POA may only be used for one of the applications, initial or final, but not for both. Additional, more detailed guidelines are covered in Chapter 16.2 of the Handbook. Lenders and borrowers may agree to credit the per diem interest to the borrower and have the mortgage payments begin the first of the succeeding month in order to reduce the burden on borrowers whose loans were scheduled to close at the end of the month but did not due to unforeseen circumstances. The lender must certify that the loan has been underwritten and closed in accordance with the regulations and that it meets all conditions set forth from the conditional commitment. The lender acknowledges that upon receipt and acceptance of the conditional commitment and required fees, the agency will execute and issue the loan note guarantee. 7 CFR 3555.107F is the regulation that states the issuance of a conditional commitment from rural development will occur after the approved lender has submitted the required documentation for agency review. The commitment may be issued with conditions the lender will be required to meet as applicable. The lender is required to comply with all conditions stated on Form RD 355518, the Conditional Commitment for Single-Family Housing Loan Guarantee, and any attachments as applicable. The loan must close under the same terms as underwritten and approved for in the conditional commitment. The first page of the conditional commitment will contain lender, borrower, and loan details, upfront loan note guarantee fee, annual fee, and guarantee systems technology fees, additional conditions and requirements, and commitment expiration date with the name and signature of the agency representative. The second page of the conditional commitment will contain the first page of required lender certification, instruction as to whether the loan will be retained or sold after closing, servicing and holding lender information as applicable, and the borrower's information. As stated on the form, this is completed online except when the electronic lender loan closing is officially unavailable. The third page of the conditional commitment will contain the second page of required lender certification, all forms required to accompany the loan note guarantee request, additional conditions that must be met for the issuance of the loan note guarantee, and the lender's authorized representative's name, title, and signature. Let's review some FAQs that we have received from lenders regarding the conditional commitment. A conditional commitment is typically valid for how many days? A, 60, B, 90, or C, 180? The answer is B, 90. A conditional commitment is typically valid for 90 days. They may be valid for up to 12 months when issued for new construction loans. Approved lenders may request extensions to issued agency commitments for a one-time extension of the expiration date. An approved lender signs the lender certification of Form RD 3555-18/18E. Their signature certifies that all agency conditions listed have been met. True or false? The answer is true. Lender certification is verified through signature. Lenders also certify that all required documentation is retained as applicable. The approved lender will verify all conditions have been met when they sign the lender certification portion of Form RD 3555-18/18E. This is normally completed online through the lender loan closing system. The lender certification includes the statement that all documentation has been retained in the lender's permanent loan file. A loan amount is $162,000 with an interest rate of 3.75% for 30 years and an appraised value of $175,000. The borrower would like to increase the loan amount to $170,000 to pay for repairs needed to the HVAC system. The loan may close on the original issued conditional commitment. True or false? The answer is false. Modifications that adversely affect the loan, such as an increase in loan amount, interest rate, monthly liabilities, etc., must be resubmitted to the agency for a new underwriting review. Additionally, any decrease in repayment income, assets, or property value would also require a new underwriting review. The lender is not authorized to close the loan until a new conditional commitment is reissued. The lender has three possible responses to the issuance of Form RD 3555-18/18E. True or false? The answer is true. The lender has three possible responses to the issuance of the RD 3555-18 conditional commitment form. 1. Accepting the conditions, 2. Declining the conditions, or 3. Requesting changes in conditions. In wrapping up this training, let's go over some great tools and resources that we have available to make navigating our guaranteed loans even easier. One useful resource is our frequently asked questions. This document has a lot of useful Q&A as they were received by our lending partners on the program. It is updated frequently and allows for the Control F feature. Our USDA Link Training and Resource Library provides our lending partners a wealth of key information, including current turn times, training, forms, checklists, and all the resources necessary to successfully navigate through the guarantee loan process. You can also sign up for GovDelivery notifications on this page under the Tools and Helpful Links drop-down tab. Make sure that you sign up for these notifications if you have not already done so. GovDelivery provides email notifications on important program information such as policy changes, live training events, and GUS system issues. Additionally, you can find contact information for our operations team and all other support staff. Should you have questions on a file that has been submitted or would like to request a status, you will want to reach out to the processing team that handles the state where your property is located. Make sure you follow the helpful tips when sending the email to ensure a faster and more accurate response. Users should always first look for answers to their questions in the regulation and the handbook. But if you still have a question after reviewing these resources, we're here to help. All policy and regulation questions regarding the topic we just covered should be sent to our Policy Analysis and Communications branch. If you have a question on your lender approval or approval for the LLC system, reach out to our staff in the Lender Oversight branch. And finally, if you'd like to request additional program training, marketing, or outreach, contact our Lender and Partner Activities branch. We believe that the Single Family Housing Guaranteed Loan Program is a great program for low and moderate income home buyers who wish to purchase homes in rural areas. But we know that this program cannot be successful without our partnership with our lenders. So thank you. This will conclude the training module. Thank you and have a great day.